I've never been cheated on in my
Wow.
5-year marriage.
Okay.
So
Have you been cheated on in life or just
think so. Not that I know of. Not to much to the best of my knowledge, I have not. But I've only had 3 relationships,
okay.
all long term.
Okay.
So
I feel like I've been mostly cheated on. So
uh,
hi everybody. I'm Miss Emily.
I miss Emma.
We're the movie moms. And today we're gonna talk about the movie Love Actually. In the spirit of all the holiday spirits,
It
we're gonna talk about our favorite Christmas movie. But it's a Christmas movie, right?
is a Christmas movie. And I actually love Love Actually.
So much.
Not always in a popular opinion, but
I
I
love
think it's great.
how many
I think
times
it's a
have you
classic.
seen it? Like on if you had to guess.
I probably since I first watched it in college,
Mhm.
I probably watch it at least once or twice every Christmas season.
So what? Like 100 times?
I'm I'm not that old.
No.
That's a decent amount of
That's
math.
a lot of times. Yeah, like in the 20s or 30s.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like the same. Like I can't go Christmas season without watching it. Just I can't get in the mood, you
yeah.
know?
It's kind of like there's some sad ones. There's Elf.
Mhm.
There's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version.
You can see my 5.5-year-old is obsessed with The Grinch. Like we watch that 365 days of the year. And I've seen it so many times. Same with Mariah Carey's song.
Mhm.
Like I think that like could trigger some holiday nostalgia, but I've heard it for the last 2 years straight.
Yeah,
And I'm good. I'm
Eileen
good. I'm good.
also loves the Grinch, and also
Yeah.
yeah, asks for it year round.
Which one does she like? Like what's her favorite version?
Jim Carrey.
Oh
She
wow.
wants the live action Jim Carrey version.
Okay, that's very sophisticated of her. That's my favorite version. But Isla likes the Benedict Cumberbatch version from
Okay.
Illumination.
Yes.
It's great. It's really good. But man, after the 700th
Yeah.
time.
I don't think I've actually got to see that one all the way through
Yeah,
because Eileen's like, this isn't the
please
Jim
not
Carrey
let her.
version.
Yeah. Where's Jim Carrey? I don't blame her. Right?
Right.
That's yeah.
A fortunate
I
part is
would
I can't
choose
really
the same.
find it year round. It's usually like seasonally out
Yeah.
on Netflix and different things.
Oh yeah.
So we can only usually watch it for a select
Well, hey, if
period
you
of
want to
time.
watch it, you come on over because we bought that thing years ago.
I won't tell her that. Only when necessary, or not yet, at least.
Yeah.
But
Have you
yes, it
watched any holiday movies yet?
just this one so far.
Okay.
So far, other ones, A Christmas Story is always a classic in our family.
Mm.
It's a Wonderful Life is my dad's favorite. I know, kind of depressing.
It's such a depressing movie. I watched it once with my dad. He's like, "You gotta watch it. It's just like it's a Christmas movie," and I'm like, "This is tragic.
I know.
Why are
I
we
think our
watching
dads
this?"
identify it with it, and then I feel almost worse because I'm like, so having us
You're trapped too.
basically trapped you from not being able to go and do all of the things you dreamed of doing. I guess in the end you appreciate it, but it still feels
It's
kind of shitty.
really sad. It's just really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, my
Anyway,
sister won't watch it. She's like, no, that's not my Christmas movie.
never do anything else than watch the movie. I'm already feeling the depressional,
Yeah.
the seasonal depressions, the sads. I'm already depressed as it is. I don't need to watch a movie that's gonna just take me there. I don't need you. I got my
I'm
sads
already there.
unlocked.
Yeah.
I can get my sads myself. Okay. Anyway, I did watch You People recently. Have you seen You People? It came out like a year or so ago.
Which one's that?
It's with Jonah
Oh
Hill
yes, yes,
and
I
Eddie
have.
Murphy. It's called
Yes.
yeah on Netflix, and their families collide when Jonah Hill falls in love with Eddie Murphy's daughter, and they have it out for each other. I feel like they each have a moment where they say their piece about the anything racial.
Yeah.
Like, they each get a monologue that I think says its piece for each community, if I may. But like I think it was really impactful, like to sit there and like be forced to listen to each other almost in this movie.
Because it was really cringy
Mhm.
watching it. I can
Mhm.
remember Dave being like almost covered, like,
I
oh,
know.
oh man, this is this is uncomfortable.
I think all of us freaks who laugh when they're uncomfortable, like, hilarious. But I loved that it was like it was challenging each other. I loved watching Jonah and Eddie act together.
Yeah.
Like, imagine what like the deleted reel or deleted scenes are gonna be like. Like between the two of them, I feel like they're improv masters. And so
Yeah. And it
I
felt
can't wait to
like
watch
a way that like they could bring those things up in comedy where they didn't get canceled now. Where they were like,
right. Because you do it in like a funny but a sensitive way. Like no one's trying to
yeah,
like go at each other. No one's mad necessarily at each other. I think we're all mad at the same shit. Just go about like solving it in a different way.
yeah. It
And
was like addressing an elephant in a room. That was
yeah.
like,
Yeah. We sort of
here,
needed
let's
that like
open the conversation up.
yeah.
Yeah. I
It's not really a holiday
was gonna say,
movie,
is that a
but
holiday movie?
it's
I
not like
don't
centered
remember.
around a holiday, but it's as holiday movie as I can go. Without getting just my mom uh convertly is a huge Hallmark fan. Like she's already been watching Hallmark movies in preparation for Christmas Hallmark
Mhm.
movies. Um so I get all the updates, I get the quick notes from her. She'll tell me like the same plot line, just a different setting,
I like the
probably the
Instagram
same
reels about
actors,
that. Yeah.
just flipped or whatever. Oh god. What did Instagram had a good time with Hallmark
Yeah.
movies.
They have good reels about that. Just about, yeah, that is the same story over and over again in
And
a
I'm
new
like, so
way.
it's the same thing that happened last time, but it's two guys instead. Oh yeah. I'm like, great.
Sweet. Thanks.
Glad
I
you
got it.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed that.
Um, Speaking of that, I actually, when I was watching Love Actually for the first time this season last week, I was thinking about it. I was like, because like throughout the film, they're like, well, if you can't say it on Christmas, then when can you?
Sure.
And like, Christmas is a time of like love. And I was like, when did Christmas become like a rom com thing? Like, when did it become the Hallmark? So then I tried to do a deep dive on Google, and that
Nice.
didn't get me very far.
Okay.
So then I went to Google Scholar and was like, somebody had to write an essay about it. There's some film
Sure.
student that was like, this is going to be my thesis.
Yeah.
Christmas holidays films, like
Yeah.
rom com
Sure.
Hallmark films. But I still didn't get a definite answer, or a definitive answer. But that was in 2003, and it kind of seemed like that might have been I don't know, it might have been one of the first like rom com Christmas
Hmm.
movies, kind of. But I was like, that seems too late. But I couldn't find a bunch of
Were there well, what about like Elf or something like that? Like those came out after Love Actually?
yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
and they aren't like rom. Well, I guess
Wow.
there's love in it. There's a love element, but it's not like if you can't tell the truth on Christmas, then when can you? I was like, probably any other day of the year, you know?
Literally every breath you take, you
Yeah,
can
you
tell
could
the
just
truth.
tell the truth. I don't know why Christmas is a truth telling. Like, even if you went to like, oh, Christianity, it's not necessarily like, it doesn't say like truth, love,
Right. You'll get
peace. It's
bonus
like
points.
peace, hope, joy, and then there's love in there. But there's like, it's not like romantic love or not like,
Right. Right. Like there doesn't there's no
I
like
was just curious. I still don't have an
heartbreak.
answer. So if anybody knows, let me know.
Yeah. I would think that like what I watched as a kid is just like the claymation, Frosty and
Exactly.
Rudolph.
Heat
Yeah.
miser.
Yeah. Which were just so oh guys, Snoopy. I had to watch with my grandma. I love you, Mama. But like, man, that was boring. Ooh. Snoopy's Christmas is not it's just not good. And I had to watch it year after year.
It's been a nostalgic thing. It was good at the time. It's like, well, top
Yeah.
notch.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was.
This episode of the Movie Moms is brought to you by Sac Rooted. Sac Rooted is a Sacramento based apparel company with the mission of making Sacramento better with every shirt sold. You can get yours at sacrooted.com. That's SACROOTED.com.
Let's talk about Love Actually. All right, Love Actually was made in 2003 and was directed by Richard Curtis. It follows the lives of eight very different couples in dealing with their own love lives in various loosely interrelated uh, tales.
Do you make glasses?
kind of. All set during the frantic month before Christmas in London. Can't believe I got through that. Okay. I kind of assumed that since we've seen it a million times, maybe people have seen it at least once. But I wanted to go through because there are so many different plot lines that
Mhm.
it is hard just to talk about them in a linear way.
Yeah. They all intermix. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it's like we follow this rock star who's like loosely related to his manager, and his manager knows somebody else who's like we also follow, and then like there's
Yeah.
like they're all kind of connected and
Somebody works here and their kid
right.
goes to the same school as somebody
That's
who
what,
goes here. Yeah.
right. And how we're connected, I guess, in our lives too, which is like a spider web sort of
Hmm.
formation.
Our relationship constellation.
A relationship constellation.
I almost was an NFT once.
Sure, for that. That's a good one. See, we vibe. We're vibing. Um, okay, so I wrote down how we see these characters in order, like when they first appear on screen. So maybe we can kind of
Yeah,
keep track of them a little
that
bit.
makes sense.
But I thought what was most interesting was their relationships and how like each storyline represents a different element of love. For instance, I feel like the first one we see, which is Billy Mack, played by Bill Knight.
Looks that's how I'd pronounce it.
He's like
Not the
a
science
legendary
guy
actor.
though.
No, no. The
Different
actor.
night.
And his manager Joe, played by Gregor Pfizer. I should practice this. Anyway, I feel like their relationship, this like bromance sort of relationship where they know each other for decades, represents like loyalty and respect and like a Bonnie and Clyde type of love,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's definitely yeah, I really did like that about this film. That it's like it's not just romantic love. They go through
Yeah.
all different like you said, all different kinds of love. And yeah, this one's definitely you don't know at first, like, what's the love aspect besides him singing a holiday song? Like, but it ties in at the end. Yeah, that it's like, oh, actually, you're the love of my life.
Oh,
Like, you're the one who's
actually.
been here. Yeah, you're the one who's been here for me. But yeah, that sort of like romance
Hmm.
love.
Yeah. Which is so important, we all need that like friend, that
Yeah,
BFF, that confidant, even if it's not like your partner or your parent or
yeah.
whatever.
Probably, especially if it's not your partner or
Yeah.
confidant. I'd go into a whole
Whole
nother
nother thing.
thing about, yeah, hierarchy of love needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs that are like based off of, um, like what your like actual needs as a human are, like the basic being like you need shelter, you need food, you need, and then it goes up from there. Like you have to have the bottom one to be able to keep moving up to like
Gotcha.
other like
You have to fulfill this bottom
yes,
level
you need
or
like
element.
the material needs to like be able to move up. But somebody kind of equated that to like a romantic. I'm totally gonna paraphrase. There is a TED talk about it somewhere. You can go find it. But like romantic needs and that like at once upon a time we didn't put like all of our like individual like love needs on into one person, like
Mm,
throughout time, all of those needs have been spread out through like multiple people. Like it took like a whole community to fulfill your love needs.
right.
And now a lot of times our expectations is that one person is going to fill that like whole pyramid of love. The problem is that people's expectations of what their partner like if they want to get to, like my partner is fulfilling all of my emotional needs, like how there's a mismatch in partnership, like people like
You have like
it's just not
unrealistic
yeah, it's
expectations
an
in life.
unrealistic expectation
Yeah.
and that like it's good to have other to like have those needs met, not in necessarily in like a cheating, not I
Right.
mean, I guess it depends. Again, it depends on what your like agreement you're set, but like communicating where are we at? Where are we
Right.
trying to get together? You're like trying to meet together. What kind of needs do you need to have fulfilled? So
This episode of the Movie Moms is brought to you by Sac Rooted. Sac Rooted is a Sacramento based apparel company with the mission of making Sacramento better with every shirt sold. You can get yours at sacrooted.com. That's SACROOTED.com.
Second plot line to introduce,
Right.
you know, because it's quick. They did it really fast. Like, okay, I'll see you later. Forgets his keys, comes back in to get his keys. Brother's already there, and she's like, "Come back, big boy," or whatever.
Yeah.
And so,
Before Jamie gets home.
right. So instantly, we know that he's been cheated on, and is going to have trust issues. And I picks up his stuff basically in the next scene and moves. Like we
Yeah,
know he's
he's in like
going somewhere.
France. At a
Into
cabin in France.
France.
Pond.
There you go. I thought it was Spain. It's France.
I think it's France because she's like, your French sucks.
We. Oh God. Anyway, we still follow Jamie after he moves to France. And his housekeeper is a woman named Maria. They speak different languages, but they're together in this like secluded lake house.
Yeah.
Where he's going to start writing this novel about whatever. And they end up just sort of falling in love with each other's behaviors rather than their words, which is another part of love, right? Like there's so much somebody could say that would charm you or whatever, but their behaviors and how they act or just like how you guys relax together
Yeah. Or
is so
coexist. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
In the
Coexist.
same space.
Yeah. So I honestly I think this is my favorite relationship of the whole movie. Just because it's so like innocent, you know, there's
Yeah.
no motives. They're both so unassuming. Just like they couldn't help but like fall for each other. I love that.
Very Hollywood rom-com. Especially when you think about it, it's like 4 weeks to Christmas, 3 weeks to Christmas. I had to like look over today, but I was like, you ever think you like fallen all the way in love with somebody in 2 weeks? Have you ever fallen in love with somebody? I was like, no, I'm not asking about me. I'm not. This isn't about me. I'm asking about the movie. This isn't like, how long did it take for you to know you loved me? Well, I was like,
And this is pass fail, buddy.
yeah, it was pass fail. He's like, I don't know.
That's like Kristoff and Anna. He's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so in deep into Frozen, the Frozen culture.
Yes, me too.
Okay, moving on. Liam Neeson plays Daniel, and the first time we see him, he's at his wife's funeral. We later learn that he has a son named Sam, played by Thomas Brody Sangster.
I just noticed this like the first time that he's his stepdad.
Yeah,
I never noticed that before this
same.
30th, 20th watching of it.
Right.
He was his stepdad.
Yeah, I didn't either. But like, I guess it doesn't matter. Like
No.
you can tell they have a bond. That
Yeah,
was,
they do
like,
have
a
he's a
father-son.
chosen father, yeah. But that whole story is super cute too. First of all, that actor is adorable as a little boy.
Oh my God. And he looks the exact same, but like handsomer. Like
Yeah.
he just looks like a manly version of that kid. Oh my God, he's so cute. I think he's still working too. Like he's still acting in England and like doing his thing. Good for him.
So there's like how like when is love really love? Kind of that question. Or like,
Mhm.
but I thought, or at least they wrote it in that Liam Neeson's character like is totally like, okay, let's he doesn't like play it down like, no, you're not. You don't know what love is. It's like,
Yeah, I
oh,
think like they both needed that. Like they both needed that hope, right? Like Liam Neeson's character, I forget his name. Liam Neeson. He was, you know, just lost like the love of his life, but blah blah blah. And I think he needed to fall in love with love again or like have hope in love
yeah,
again. Which like you can't not have hope when you see like little kids fall in love. Like it's just so cute, you know, like
yeah,
oh, and then when he's so dramatic about it, he's like, "This is the one love for me."
right.
Like, oh my God.
Is it
Okay, like
good?
we have to do it.
Right?
Like you like are reminded, I guess, as a jaded, heartbroken adult that like it's worth chasing again.
Yeah. And he's like, this is good. Like, it's like, what's more agonizing than love, you know?
Yeah. It's
The
so
pursuit
cute.
of love. He's like, oh, yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
yeah.
The other thing I found striking, at least, I don't know if this is just my own upbringing or if this is just like an American upbringing
Mhm.
versus like a British cultural upbringing, was just like how open, even as a young boy, like the conversation between like father and son was. I was
And like
like,
25 years ago or
yeah,
whatever it
yeah, in
is.
2003, in 20 years, yeah, 20 years ago, how like, you know, he's like, he talks about like, oh, if he falls in like Liam Neeson's character is like, "Oh, we probably have lots of sex, so we need you out of here." Just like so open with it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that would." I didn't even know what sex was. Like, there's no way.
No
There's no
way.
way. But at the same time, when I was in London once, I went to the Museum of Natural History with my older brother,
Yeah.
and I was also astounded for the same sort of thing because they had like this whole section on how babies are made and like life size, like you get to walk through a uterus yourself kind of thing. Like I was like, it was like sex education in a museum. And I was just like, whoa, this culture is different.
I think
Right.
Catholic
Yeah.
schoolgirl was like, "What are we doing?"
I am 21, 22 now, and I'm with my older brother. And we're both like, this is still weird. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I feel
I don't
you.
want to learn about sex.
I think you're right. Like the British culture is a little more progressive as far as like sex education goes.
Or just
Or
open
just
conversation, you
just
know?
you're right, like emotional conversations or like a father and son talking openly about their feelings and about love. Like it's beautiful to see whether it's common or not. Like it is a nice example of what a father son relationship
Yeah.
could be.
It just stood out to me. I was like,
Yeah.
never would that ever.
Yeah. Actually, I never really noticed that. You're right. Like I never well, I don't think I've really watched it as a parent from the parent point of
Mhm.
view. Like I still kind of just resonate with other characters. Although Emma Thompson plays my
Oh,
favorite role. I
we'll get there, but that's the greatest dilemma that I would like to pose questions to you about.
see another element of relationships, though, isn't it? Like you find out your partner's probably cheating, but like you've been together for 20 something years. Like, what do you do? Is it a one off? Can you fix it? Do you want to fix it? Do I tell him I know? Do I just keep it
I
a
know.
secret and just like try and move
She
on?
handles it
Like,
like a boss in that one scene, just like casually.
what a
I don't know if you want me to wait
queen.
till we get to the actual.
Listen, the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the scene. This is the scene truly I
Oh
I
gosh.
consider to be the best piece of acting in our generation, hands down. I will always point to this scene with Emma Thompson. She finds this like gold necklace in her husband's jacket.
Alan Rickman, R.I.P.
Oh, R.I.P. And so she's like, okay, great. I'm gonna get that for a Christmas gift. They open Christmas gifts. She doesn't get it. She doesn't get the necklace. It's nowhere to be found. She's got to assume it's gone to some whore on the side, and she's right. And
Well, because she's seen him dancing. I
oh
was first of all, I was like,
yeah,
since when is it the boss's job to dance with
to
everybody?
dance. Ew, why is he
That would,
dancing at all?
yeah, that would not fly. I don't know if that
Forgot.
flew 20 years ago. There was so many. That's like a whole side story that we can talk about later. About, I was like, this is inappropriate workplace, like speech and practices all around in this film,
All around.
all around. None of this. Everybody's getting fired or sued.
Y'all are canceled for
Sorry.
sure. Okay.
But anyways, back to it. So yes, he is kind of not technically. And I guess that also begs the question of like, what do you consider cheating?
Right. Like, is it a physical act? Is it an emotional connection with someone else? Is it like attention that you're sort of cheating your partner out of
Yeah.
because you're
Giving
not
them a gold,
gifts?
somebody else that you work with, a beautiful gold necklace.
Which, by the way, if somebody gave me that necklace, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's we're married. We are
Well, it's a ring.
officially married.
It's a ring now. The necklace is a ring.
My God, it was just like a solid gold heart.
Yeah.
Please.
No.
Anyhow, she finds out that like he might be cheating or whatever. He's given the necklace to someone that's not her. And she goes into her bedroom and she has a meltdown. But like her kids are unwrapping their gifts still in the other room. So she's got to sort of keep it together. But she's fucking freaking out, of course. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
And she like cries and then wipes her tears. And then she cries even harder and then wipes them and then like makes the bed sort of. Like
Yeah.
she pretends to
With
just like tug at
tiny
the thing
things.
and like just I'm getting chills thinking about it because to do that as an actor, to get into that space, not only like get to that emotional place where you can produce that amount of tears and make choices of like, I'm just gonna have a tiny bed. no, I can't. I'm too sad. No, I have to distract myself. No, I can't. And like to see that happening, she doesn't say a word in this scene. And
Mhm.
we know
It's
all
just
of these
Joni Mitchell
things.
singing in the background about what love is or isn't.
It's so tragic and but beautiful and just like I don't know if she won an Oscar for it, and I didn't look it up because in my mind she is the best actress for that scene, and that plus like Montgomery Clift and A Raisin in the Sun. We'll get into that another day. But those are like the two I think two best demonstrations of what it is to be a phenomenal actor. So bravo, Emma Thompson. I love you. Thank you for that scene. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening to our pod, by the way.
At Emma Thompson.
Shout out to ET.
I've never been cheated on in my
Wow.
5-year marriage.
Okay.
So
You've been cheated on in life or just
think so. Not that I know of. Not to much to the best of my knowledge, I have not. But I've only had 3 relationships, all
okay.
long term.
Okay.
So
I feel like I've been mostly cheated on. So
but as I say, I still could kind of identify with her in the scene. It was still like broke my heart as like when there's something like emotionally wrenching going on, but you don't have time to be in the space to completely break down. So you have like a 5-minute breakdown period to like, I'm gonna shut the door in my room. I'm probably gonna put on a song.
yep. Sad
Probably
song.
gonna make me sad so I can like feel it through the song really fast. But just like also like you said to like be like, okay, but I don't have, I have to like compartmentalize this and I have to
Yeah.
like put it away because it's not about me right now. It's about the kids'
Yeah.
play. I
It's
got to
about
go to the
kids'
kids' play.
Christmas.
It's
My
about yeah.
God. Yeah, you gotta put on your mom face, right?
And
Like
just how heartbreaking it is to have to like go through all of the emotions and just be like, we'll bookmark this. I guess like let me very quickly, like so I don't blow in there, come like you said, and then distract yourself. Like,
mm-hmm.
oh, let me pick this up or do that or I don't know, fix my hair. Let
Fold
me
the
be
laundry.
in let me be in control of one thing for a second and then like compose myself enough to go out. But then there's no resolution at the end of the film. It's just awkward,
I
which
would
I love. I love realistic endings with no resolutions.
what do you think would be the resolution? Like if they had one, like what would you imagine it? Do you think they stay together?
There'd
Or
have to be a reckoning, or I don't know. Maybe there wouldn't have to be. I guess
if it could be an emotional cheat, like an emotional cheat might almost hurt worse, right? Because you're stealing moments and like memories away from our relationship to give it to someone else. Like
yeah.
that's how I'd see that. So like that's almost worse
And
than
you're
just
putting
like
more effort into like
a perpetuation
yeah,
of it.
and loving or like showing your love for somebody else.
Okay, so let's talk about the last one we want to talk about.
Yeah. Prime Minister Hugh Grant.
Prime Minister Hugh Grant
Forget what his name is, but
and
but
his aide,
yeah, initially his aide,
Natalie.
Natalie. Yeah.
She's just like a basic aide. I would assume like down the ranks a lot. You know, like
Hmm.
he just got into office. That's how we meet him there for the first time. And then he's kind of meeting the whole staff. Like he's meeting the head of housekeeping and he's meeting like his chief of military or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And then he meets Natalie like last and she's like, can I get you something to drink? So it's like an assistant. Okay, so
Also a quick love story.
a quick one. Yes.
Well, just to be like the same as
Timeline wise.
this timeline wise as like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks to Christmas, that kind
Right.
of thing.
I feel like from now until Christmas, and where no one's actually falling in love, because then you gotta buy them presents.
Yeah.
Like
I
everyone's
feel like
probably
I
just
would almost believe uh Jamie and Maria's love story in 2 weeks
yeah, more
more
than
than I would believe
yeah,
prime minister and
falling in
assistant,
love with his aide or whatever.
his
Like,
aide. That one was like super Holly. It was still super cute. It goes. I mean, you're watching a Hollywood, or I don't know. This is so Hollywood if it's British. I don't
yeah,
know. You're watching a Hollywood film, or like a rom com.
yeah,
You're watching a rom com, so you just go along with it.
yeah,
There's like the timelines can change,
yeah.
but it was still good.
Sure. And I think, it kind of represents too the way you can have like an instant connection with somebody where it feels like you've known them for a long time, or you just have that connection where you're like, we should build on this. Maybe we shouldn't like get married tomorrow, but like we could build on something, even if it's fast
Mhm.
moving in the beginning.
Yeah.
you know? Like, it feels fast emotionally, but then you move slow
You know, it
to
was
build
almost
it.
like 1 week. It was like, whoa, 1 week, I'm in love. And then the American president comes and he's slimy and he like hits on you. And then I feel uncomfortable with our relationship in week 2.
It
And
was like a
then,
prequel to Trump, to
yeah.
be honest.
And then in week 3, you sent me a Christmas card. I've moved you out of my immediate sight. You
Right.
sent me like, it feels like it should have happened over several months. And it feels like it in the
It
movie,
could
but
have
it's
taken a
like 3
year.
weeks.
They could have
Yeah.
had a year arc for real, right? Because they like kind of broke it off. They're like, no, stay away from me. No, but I love
Right.
you. No, come back. And it was
All
like,
in
it's a
one week.
day. It's been a day.
Each in a couple of days span. She's great. Another thing I noticed like a lot in this, and I saw like people on the internet being like, like angry about. We kind of talked about this, like the work. Well, we briefly touched or bookmarked that the workplace banter from people would not fly today. Is not probably shouldn't fly, and was inappropriate. But people were like, you can't like that movie because because they do this in the workplace,
Really? They tried to cancel this movie because of that?
but also because of like fat shame. Both like the original one we talked about whatever the singer and he always calls his producer like this fat little man.
I understand these sort of like conscience warriors who are like trying to set the tone for like what we stand for, what we don't now. And I appreciate the fight. But like there are some things we don't gotta we don't have to do that. Like we don't need
Pick and choose your battles.
like if somebody's complaining and saying, yo, I need this is not cool, I need help. Let's pay attention there. Let's go there. Let's fight there.
Yeah,
Right? For let's set the tone for a better future. But like if nobody is like the people involved aren't complaining
yeah. Or to
or
reach
saying,
back
hey, I
20
need help,
years.
uh, I think everything's fine.
Yeah, but then a lot of it had to go do with, which I didn't think it was like some of the people's comments were negative. They're like, "Oh, she's got thighs like a tree trunk," So that was another thing was about her like curvy, but she was not big at all. And in the end, I thought more like the moral of the story was like, screw those people.
Right.
She's got a beautiful, like it seems to
Yeah.
be women that keep commenting on this, and it's the men that are like, "Oh, she is sexy as hell." I like those curves. You know? So I didn't feel like none of the times I watched it before I looked for this podcast, I was like, "Oh, how do people feel about this?"
Whoops.
And some of it was like, I don't know. I didn't bother to look when that was time stamped, but some of it was
All right.
yes. I was like, I don't feel like there was a lot of fat shaming, to be honest.
Well, and I feel like there we are a little cancel crazy, and I'm not like against cancel culture. I think there's a time and place for sure. We should cancel some
Some
assholes for
yeah.
sure. Definitely, but not everything. We don't have to change everything. We just need to change a lot of things, but not everything. And I think like it's okay to look back and be like, you know what, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Probably shouldn't do that anymore in the future. And that's enough. Like
Yeah.
that's enough of like the cancel culture to
Yeah.
hit this movie to be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't act like that in the workplace anymore, or
I
like
feel
call
that.
people fat ever. Just
Yeah.
in case it hurts their feelings.
I
But like
think
other than that, we're not going to cancel a whole thing.
no. I feel like instead of canceling, you could like converse. Like let's talk about and like change it rather than just be like it's canceled. It's kind of like in like parenting styles, or it used to just be like, because I said so, it's just a no. And like now, everything that at least all the input I get from parenting experts, quote unquote,
Right.
are like, no, you don't just say like you have to have a reason behind it. You open up
Right.
conversations, you like talk about everything,
Right.
which sometimes I get is exhausting. And there are, I mean, I'm not saying this for everything. There are some things that you're like, that's just not acceptable,
Right.
both in parenting and in film or general, in life. They're just like, that one's not
Yeah.
okay. But there's a lot of things, especially if you're reflecting on past actions or past movies or past things, that instead of being like, this can't be anymore,
Right.
it could be like, let's talk about why it wasn't okay
Yeah.
and what we're going to do differently, like how it can be funny or how we can make a point without doing that.
Right. And I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Like instead of cancel culture, it should be conversation culture.
Yeah.
You're nailing this today. Here's again. Here's to you. Cheers to us. Cheers
Couple
to
nuggets,
you.
yeah.
Cheers to all the moms. We cheers to you and all of your unsung work.
The ultimate love, actually. Motherhood.
Motherhood. Motherhood is love, actually.
This episode of the Movie Moms is brought to you by Sac Rooted. Sac Rooted is a Sacramento-based apparel company with the mission of making Sacramento better with every shirt sold. You can get yours at sacrooted.com. That's SACROOTED.com.